Hello. Okay. We're going to review point slope form and then do applications, which we have not done yet. We'll also be doing a little bit of this in class as well. So here we go. Point slope form is a useful linear form when you are actually given a point and a slope. So let's start off with something you've done before here. We are given a slope of a half passing through the point 10, -4, and we need to write an equation. So this is a y, and remember when you pop it in, you're doing the opposite sign. So this is going to be y plus 4 equals, m stands for slope, which is 1/2, and then opposite sign, x minus 10. We need to get in the habit of being able to simplify this down to slope-intercept form, because you're going to be tested on that. This is not slope-intercept form. This is point-slope form. So the first thing we're going to do is distribute. So 1/2 times x is 1/2 x. Then 1/2 times -10 is just -5. Remember, don't be afraid of fractions. 10 times 1 is 10, divided by 2 is 5. -5. Okay? And last step to simplify, we're going to subtract 4 on both sides. We get y equals 1/2 x minus 9. So now this form gives you the slope and the y-intercept. Okay? All right. I think this is review, but I cannot remember how many of these we've done. They're asking us to write an equation in slope-intercept form, and they're not giving us the slope. Instead, they're giving us 2 points. Well, what we need to do is find the slope in order to plug in. So we're going to find the slope first. Then we're going to plug in. So we're going to do, and see we can do this because this is a linear function. So down, up, down, up. 3 minus 1 is 2. 6 minus 2 is 4. So my slope is 1/2. And now we can pick either one of these points to plug in, not both. So let's write that down. You're going to pick a point. And you're going to plug in. Okay. So I'm just going to use this fella here. So this is y minus 3 equals, the slope we found is 1/2 x minus 6. Okay, now we're going to simplify. We're going to distribute here, and we get 1/2 x minus 3. And last step, we're going to add 3. And we get y equals 1/2 x. That cancels. And remember, that's the same thing as plus 0, which means my y-intercept is 0. Okay? Okay, now, the applications of this. Very important to realize that when you're reading these, they're not giving you an initial value, because an initial value is a y-intercept. And then you could just plug into the y-intercept. If you read this one, it says a taxi charges $2.50 per mile. Okay, now when they are doing like per mile, this is an indicator that they're giving us a rate, i.e. slope. Okay, when you see things like per mile, per minute, per gallon, is a rate. It's the slope. So the next thing they give us is, if a 5-mile ride costs $15.50, write an equation in slope-intercept form that models the cost of the taxi ride. So notice it says per mile, and they give us 5 miles and the cost. Well, this is your ordered pair. Okay, so my m, or my slope, is $2.50. My ordered pair is 5, 1550. So now I have a point and a slope. So we've got, that's your y component. So we've got y minus 15.50 equals slope of 250, and then there's my x minus 5. Okay, now we're going to distribute. 250 times x is 250x. If we want to be lazy, we can go right to our calculator and do the second distribution. 250 times negative 5, and we get negative 1250. Okay, and then let's bring the rest down. And my last step to get it in slope-intercept form is I'm going to add 1550 to both sides. (2.50x), and then I'm going to combine this. I can probably do this in my head. Let's see. $3. Okay. So this is slope-intercept form, and that means this $3 is like probably an initial fee before they start running the $2.50 per mile. So that could be an initial fee in the cab ride. Okay. All right, let's do another one. Marty is spending money at a rate, they're giving you the word rate, of $3 per day, and there's that per again that's letting you know this is your rate and it's also the slope. So my slope is 3. After 14 days, he has $68 left. Okay, so here's your ordered pair. Notice this says per day and 14 days. That's your X. So 14, comma, 68. Okay, now, one thing we need to realize is he is spending money. Okay, and notice it's how many days will he be out of money. So this slope is actually negative. This slope is negative because the money's running out. It's a negative slope. Okay, so let's write our equation. Y minus 68 equals a negative slope, negative 3, and then x minus 14. Okay, so let's simplify. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 14, I know that's going to be positive. Let's see, 12 is $42, pretty certain. Okay, bring this down. Okay, we're going to add 68 to both sides. And we get y equals negative 3x. 0, I think that's $110 there. Okay. So now, question, how much money did he have initially? Okay, initially is your y-intercept. Initially is your y-intercept. That's when x is 0, which means at 0 days that he started spending. So that's right here, folks. That's your y-intercept. So the amount of money he had initially was $110. Okay, then it says, after how many days will he be out of money? Okay, well, out of money is $0. Okay, remember that your X stands for days and your Y stands for money. So we're going to put a 0 where the Y is, and we're going to record our equation, and then we're going to solve for X to find out how many days. So we're going to subtract. So, sorry about that. We're going to subtract 110 from both sides. And we get negative 3x equals negative 110. And now we're going to divide both sides by negative 3. We get 36 2/3, or 36.7 if we round it. So it says, after how many days will he be out of money? Pretty much he's going to be out of money within 37 days or 36 days, depending on how you see it. Okie doke. Let's flip over. Gonna do some more. So suppose a 5-minute overseas phone call costs $5.91 and a 10-minute call costs $10.85. Y'all, these are two ordered pairs. Your X is going to be minutes and your Y is going to be the cost for that. So there's one order pair, and then 10-minute call is $10.86. So now, in order to write our point slope form, we need the slope. So let's find the slope. Down, up, down, up. Okay, we're not going to be afraid of decimals. Just going to pop them bad boys in. So we got 5.91 minus 10.86. We get negative 495. When I simplify the bottom, I get negative 5. $0.99 is the slope. And basically what that means is it's 99 cents per minute, by the way. That's what that means. That's your rate, 99 cents a minute. Now, I'm just going to pick something to plug in. Doesn't matter which one I'm going to do. I'll just go ahead and grab this guy right here. So there's my Y component. So it's going to be, let's do that over here, Y minus 5.91 equals my slope, X minus 5. Okay, so now let's simplify that. Let's distribute. So let's do 0.99 times negative 5, negative 4.95. So when I distribute here, I get 0.99x. When I distribute here, I get negative 4.95. Okay, we're going to add 5.91 to both sides. Okay, and so let's do this. Negative 4.95 plus 5.91, get 96. Okay. All right, now we can use this. It says if you only have $12 to spend, how many minutes can you talk? Now, you could set this equal to $12. You could actually do an inequality symbol if you wanted. I'm just going to set it equal to $12. Remember, money is the Y, so it's going to go right here. So 0.99x plus 0.96. So we're going to subtract 0.96 from both sides. We'll solve for x here. We get 0.99x equals, that's going to be $11.04, pretty certain. Okay, and last step is to divide by 99 cents. All right. We get 11.2. And remember, the X stands for minutes. So if he only has $12, he can only talk for 11 minutes. That's how long he can talk on the phone. Okay? Okay, let's try this one together. A car rental company charges an initial rental fee, then a $12 fee per hour. There we are again. This right here is going to be your rate. It's going to be your slope. Okay. If 10 hours of rental time cost $150, that is an ordered payer. 10, 150. I have a slope and a point, and I'm going to plug in. And then finally, determine the cost of the initial fee. Y'all, the initial fee is the y-intercept. That's like an upfront charge. And so that's why we're going to have to put it in point slope form after we plug into, that's why we're going to have to put it in slope intercept form after we start off with point slope form. So here we go. Y minus 150 equals slope of $12, x minus 10. Okay, we're going to distribute. When I do, I get 12x minus 120. We're going to add 150 to both sides. And when I simplify that, that's 30. And now it says determine the cost of the initial fee. Well, this is your y-intercept. The initial fee was $30. So your answer would be $30. Okay. All right. A dry cleaning business charges $7.50 for 6 pieces of clothing and $22.50 for 18 pieces of clothing. How much would they charge for 15 pieces of clothing? These are ordered payers. Notice here, though, your independent variable, your x, is actually flipped around because the charge depends on how many pieces of clothing. So your ordered payer is 6, $7.50. And then here, 18, $22.50. Okay, so hopefully the teachers are listening. Let's go ahead and pause the video. And folks, I want you guys to first find the slope. Then I want you to plug into slope intercept form, point slope form, and I want you to simplify it. And then it's asking for 15 pieces of clothing, how much it's going to cost. Remember, that's an X. Plug it in and find your answer. So let's pause, teachers, and let these guys try this on their own. Okay, so first thing we did was we found the slope. Okay, and remember, slope is y over x, so this would be the amount of money per piece of clothing. Okay, I picked an ordered pair, and I used my slope, and I plugged in to point slope form, simplified it down, okay, and then it asked how much would they charge for 15 pieces. That's an X, so I just plugged that in. The correct answer is $18.75, okay. All right, we've got another one, so let's go ahead and try to pause the video again, see what you can do. All right, so first thing we do with our order pairs is we find the slope. These are 2 order pairs. So then I picked this one because it doesn't have a decimal in it, just make it a little bit easier, and I did point slope form. This is my equation, and then it asked me how much will she make if she works 10 hours, so I plugged 10 hours in where X is. And our answer is $150. You all have a good day.